just a bunch of other odds, and
Okay, I think we'll go ahead and get started.
makes you feel a little better.
It is Thursday, December 19th. We are having our board meeting, 5:30 p.m. at the Legacy Campus in the boardroom. And we want to welcome all of you here this evening. It's so great to see you here, and thanks for taking time out of a busy schedule in December to be here. We really appreciate that. We'll go ahead and begin with roll call.
Larry Jepson, board member.
Randall Bagley, board member.
Steve Norton, superintendent.
Roger Pulsifer, board member, is excused. I'm Kathy Christiansen, board member.
Chris Corcoran, board member.
Jeff Nielsen, board member.
Terry Rhodes, board member.
And Dale Hanson, business administrator.
Thank you. Okay, we'd like to do the pledge and the mission statement, and I will just lead the pledge tonight. Our mission is to educate students for success in a changing world. So we're going to change up the schedule just a little bit tonight. We are going to do the recognitions next, but then we're going to go ahead and do the things that we need to vote on because several members of the board have to leave early for dance recitals, music recitals, and all kinds of school programs that are going on. And then we'll come back to the public input. And if anyone does want to have public input, you do need to sign the list at the back. So we have your names and we can call you up in order for that. This is being recorded. And for those of you who have come for public input, if you have any questions or concerns, we will have your names on the public input list and someone will get back in touch with you to answer your questions if you have any. Okay, so with that in mind, we'll go ahead and get started, and we'd like to begin with our Teachers of the Year. We're really excited about presenting 4 of those tonight, and we will begin with Skyview High School's teacher, Lester Lee, and Principal Monson will be doing the presentation.
Well, I'm very happy to take a few minutes and brag about Mr. Lester Lee. He is, I've had a number of years in education now, and I don't think I've ever worked with a finer visual arts teacher than Lester. So I'm very excited that he was chosen. In fact, I was surprised. I thought, you haven't been chosen before? Wow. So let me just tell you a little bit about Lester. And it's he began teaching at Delta High School, and then went to Mill Creek Junior High, taught for quite a while at Woods Cross High School, and just kind of decided maybe he was done, and then he decided, no, I'm not done, and we were fortunate to get him at Skyview High School, where he's been the last 4 or 5 years now? Fifth year, okay. So this man is a Huntsman Award winner. He has been named the Davis District Teacher of the Year, Woods Cross Teacher of the Year, BYU Art Educator of the Year, the KSL recipient of the Teacher Feature Award, the Outstanding Educator from the Utah Legislature, so a number of recognitions. So this is not his first walk in the park of being glorified and honored, but it's well deserved. And one of the things that I think you need to know about Lester from a personal point of view is that he's a recognized artist in the state outside of the teaching portion of it. He's illustrated numerous book covers for Bookcraft publishers, including The Work and the Glory by Gerald Lund. Lester's illustrating the graphics department for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, has illustrated for the state of Utah, the University of Utah, and many local businesses. He's designed a number of musical sets for the high schools that he's been at. He's also an accomplished children's book illustrator. He's been a published sculptor in bronze and is responsible for the publication and sales of over 1.5 million copies of the pencil print of the Presidents of the LDS Church. Lester is well known along the Wasatch Front for his abilities with pencil portraits and watercolors. He's been featured at the Utah Arts Festival, the Park City Arts Festival, the Zions Bank Art Festival. He was just the featured artist at, was it the Eccles in Ogden last year? So this is somebody you go, wow, I mean, we're honored that you're teaching school and working with kids. And so here's one of the things that I'd like to just mention so you get a feel for who he is. Talking to a student, how's painting going? Well, I'm not very good at it. But you'd never know that from Mr. Lee. If you want to have, let's see, if I need a self-esteem boost, I just go see Mr. Lee. And that's the kind of teacher he is. I know some of you have had the chance to see our recent art show. Superintendent was there. The quality of work is outstanding. We've had, we've kind of dominated some of the Springville Art Show Awards and the Northern Utah Awards, and last year we had, 3 or 4 students get scholarships for their artwork, and so really just an outstanding educator, and so I congratulate Mr. Lester Lee. And one more thing I need to just mention. Here's something he does for the staff every year. He just does a painting, and then at his own cost, he makes prints, and they're always just beautiful. So this is this year's print that he did, and usually around Christmas time we know we're just going to find them in our box, and that's the kind of person that he is, just very talented but willing to share that talent. And so thank you, Lester, for all you do for Skyview. I just made it up, you know.
You get a plaque, but nothing's free. You have to give a speech.
Well, this is a real honor. It's fun to be part of those that have gone before, and this is my 5th year here, and I did retire once. But among other things, I just needed to come back and be amongst the kids, because being surrounded by art every day is, you can't really describe it to somebody. It's just a lift that you have to have, and so. Anyway, I'm glad to be here in the school district, and as long as I stay healthy, I hope they'll keep me for another 6 or 7.
As long as you want.
We need a picture. You want a picture?
We'd like to get a picture.
You get a picture, and it'll be out in the internet world tonight.
Mr. Lee, do you have any of your family here? Okay. We tell them we appreciate them too, because if you teach school, you have to have a lot of family support, and we appreciate your family very much. Congratulations.
Just so you know, he did bring a print for each of you.
Oh, wow, how nice.
You're a
Thank
good
you.
guy, buddy.
Okay, we will go ahead and move on to Spring Creek Middle School, and we will be recognizing Rachel Kenning, and Principal Powell will be presenting the recognition.
Actually, I'm going to have Andy Crosby.
Oh, okay, thanks.
This is one of the funnest parts of my job, so I'm excited to be here and glad to be honoring Rachel. I thought one of the best ways that we could honor her is to talk to some of her colleagues and her fellow science teachers and get some comments from them, and see what they kind of had to say for her, because I think next to the kids, they worked the closest with her and had many, many good things to say about her. So I don't see Barker here tonight, but he had plenty to say. And those of you that know Jaron Barker, he is interesting to teach with and fun to teach with. But he said, Rachel Kenning attended BYU. Whatever character flaw led her to make that choice. I know, I knew you'd appreciate that. Will have to be explored later. But when the worst thing that you can say about a person is the disparage where she went to college, that's saying something. So I've endured Rachel's annoyingly positive attitude for years. She's been with us. This is our 4th year together. We came together to Spring Creek, so she's been there for 4 years. I think that the science storage room could spontaneously combust, and Rachel would cheerfully file the insurance paperwork and be thrilled to shop for new supplies. And you can be sure that she would shop for the very best deal on everything. One of the best things about Rachel is she applies for, I think, every grant that is available, and I think you've almost received every grant that is available. In fact, she just got the Northrop Grumman Foundation Teachers Academy Fellowship, which amongst different, you get to go down to Salt Lake, I think, a couple times for a week, and then she gets a trip to Boston this summer. And Los Angeles. She found out about that the same week that she found out that she was Spring Creek's Teacher of the Year, so that was kind of an exciting time of the week. It was her week. We should have sent her to Vegas. I think she won our school pride drawing on Friday, too, so it was kind of exciting. The next thing is Rachel lives in Mendon, which is by Jaron, and he said that a lot of the times she takes his kids to school, and if he has 2 boys, and right now his youngest is at Spring Creek, and it's a wonder that you can get a 13-year-old boy to talk. But she'll get him in there, and he'll talk and open up, and they have great conversations. So he is very grateful for her influence on his children. Our other things that teachers have said, this was one that they said, she has a Tesla that, you'll love this, she powers at home with solar power panels. So truly saving our environment. She's not only a great teacher, but she also is a very caring, compassionate person. Rachel takes the times to help students feel comfortable. She strives for equity in her classroom for all students, regardless of their background or home life. In addition to being kind and compassionate, Rachel is very confident, knowledgeable, and a master at determining what is essential for students to know, and not just assuming, and then also assessing the essentials. When there is a problem to solve, Rachel has a gift for looking at the big picture and being able to dissect it, get to the root of the problem, and explain the solution well. Also, outside the classroom, Rachel is a true friend that takes the time to listen and connect personally. Rachel is a collaborator and resource to other teachers and connects with the public. Again, gets donations for her science classroom and also for the science program. So not just for her classroom, the whole school benefits from that. Last year she found a donor for a dissection equipment and sheep eyeballs activity, that lab that the students were able to do, and that is something that they will always remember. Again, one of the best stories about Rachel is last year we did a DIRS lockdown, and it was really funny. We were trying to go through, and of course you go through those drills to learn. We had a very valuable learning experience at Rachel's expense, right? I don't think her or her students made it through it, but she volunteered herself willingly, explained everything that she did wrong and how we could do things better, and it was amazing. She's always willing to help others learn, even if it's at her expense, so we appreciate that. But Spring Creek students and faculty are truly fortunate to have Rachel Kenning as a teacher, collaborator, and mentor, regardless of her educational choices. So thank you, congratulations.
Well, I'm just impressed that so many people came here to see me receive this award. It means a lot to me. It really does. I love you so much. I'm just super grateful to work at Spring Creek. I've worked at a few schools in my career, and I have to truly say that Spring Creek is a unique place. And one thing that makes it the most unique, I think, is the support that we have. So I don't know if we have any Spring Creek families here, but it's amazing what support you give us as a school. And I don't think we could do at Spring Creek what we do if we didn't have that kind of support. We have the most amazing families, and they're just really awesome to work for, and the privilege is definitely all mine.
Rachel, do you have family members here? Do you have family members here? Will you have them stand? Thank you. All right, our next Teacher of the Year is Tammy Kidman from Greenville Elementary School, and she will have Principal Pugmire do her presentation.
We are given a 2 to 3 minute limit, and I hear there's a prize for those that actually keep it. So here we go. It's hard when they're so deserving, right? All right. We are happy to announce that Mrs. Tammy Kidman has been chosen as our Greenville Teacher of the Year. Tammy inspires hope, ignites student imagination, and instills a love of learning in her students. She is kind and genuinely loves her students. Tammy is an amazing teacher. Even her recent scores, the kids, she won't want me to tell you this, but most of them doubled, and all of them have great growth scores. And there isn't a teacher at the school that would have a bad thing to say about Tammy. If the parent has something bad to say, they're crazy. So she really is an amazing teacher, and she deserves this. And so I want to introduce Tammy Kidman as Greenville's Teacher of the Year.
All right, so I look old, but I'm a new teacher. I've only been teaching for 5 years, and I just love being a mom. And when my kids grew up, I'm like, I got to keep being a mom. And honestly, I'm such a work in progress. So this is, don't let this deceive you. But I love those kids. I love them so, so much, and I give them my whole heart every day. And I love our staff. Greenville we are a family, not just on the clock professionally, but we are there for each other personally. So I'll take it for the team. We're a family. And anyway, thank you.
And Mrs. Kidman, do you have family members here? Yes. Would you have them stand, please? Thank you so much. All right. Our next teacher is Andrew Foster from Cedar Ridge Elementary School, and his presentation will be by Principal Ivy.
Whatever you call me.
Okay.
Oh, I love this guy. He is the best. So when I told Andrew that his peers had nominated him for Teacher of the Year, he asked me to give him some evidence that he'd actually earned the award. And I told him there was plenty of evidence, and would he accept the nomination? And he did, and I was so happy. And teachers make kids wonder, discover, question, and think about things differently. They make learning real and fun. They make kids see talents and worth in themselves. They make sure that kids experience challenges and victories. Andrew's that teacher. Mrs. Littlefield teaches with Andrew, and she said Andrew purposefully chose to teach purely to educate and empower students. He loves to challenge his students with questions and allow them to research and collaborate to find the answers. He has a love of science, and he teaches it with passion and energy. He's provided many STEM projects and challenges to his students, which they rave about to their peers. Our school looks at Andrew as a teacher, lead, team leader. He researches best practices and shares that information with his PLC team. And because of Andrew's influence and knowledge, his fourth grade team has made improvements in their teaching and are waiting to see the changes it will bring with their students. Mrs. McAllister, another team member, said Andrew is one of the most objective and open-minded people she's ever met. She enjoys learning from him through all the research he has done on behalf of his education and his students. He has a silly side of his personality, and she loves it when he shares it with the team. And I have to add, too, I love eating lunch with this guy because we can, get some controversy going. He's a devil's advocate, so am I. It's so much fun. I'd like to share with you 8 characteristics of a great teacher. This describes Andrew. Teachers are confident people. They have life experience. They understand how to motivate students. They're technologically savvy. They model risk-taking. They focus on important stuff. They use data to drive instruction. And they don't worry too much about what administrators think. So this is Andrew through and through. He's a wonderful teacher, team leader, and friend, and deserves to be Cedar Ridge's Teacher of the Year.
So I'll take that as a warning. Maybe I should care a little bit more about what my administrator thinks. But thank you, Amy, for all of your support. Honestly, I've never had a more supportive principal. And that may not mean much because I'm on my third year teaching, but I've never had a more supportive boss. And I've had, I mean, decades of working experience in other industries, and I really appreciate all your support. My team, one of them's not here because she's getting her tires rotated and they're late. But my whole team came out to make fun of me later, so thank you. No, I love coming to work every day, and not just for the kids. I love the kids. We all love kids. But I love the team that I work with, and they do so much to help me, and I learn from them a lot, and they make fun of me a lot, and they keep me humble, and I really appreciate that as well. And Carmen, she does the same thing. She keeps me humble, makes sure I'm filling out paperwork properly, but thank you. I'm learning. I love this district, and I love this job, so thank you for the opportunity.
And would your family please stand? And family from your school as well. Should have mentioned that before. Thank you so much. We appreciate all of our teachers and feel so lucky to have such great people working with our kids here in the Cache County School District. We would love to have you stay, but those of you who are not here for any other purpose, this is really a great time to leave if you would like. We are going to just move down to our consent agenda as you move on out. Thanks again for being here. All right, I will go ahead and take a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I move that we accept the consent agenda.
I second it.
All right. Any discussion or questions? All righty, we'll go ahead then and vote.
Okay, all the votes are in and unanimously in favor of the motion.
Okay. All right, we have a couple of items on our action agenda. So I will take a motion for a request for the approval of the trust land funds adjustment for Lewiston Elementary.
I move that we approve the adjustment for the trust land funds for Lewiston Elementary.
I second.
Any questions or concerns about that? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote.
Okay, all the votes are in and unanimously in favor of the motion.
Okay. All right. I will now take a motion to approve the school calendar for the 2020-21 year.
I move that we approve the school calendar for the 2020-2021 school year.
I second.
Okay, do you have questions or concerns about the calendar?
Is this the one that the trimesters are not all even, so that
Correct.
it's easier for, okay.
All right, we'll go ahead and vote.
Okay, all the votes are in and unanimously in favor of the motion.
Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and move to our public input then. And while Dell is getting that list, just let me kind of go over the guidelines, just as a quick reminder in case you didn't notice it on the list. If you want to speak, you need to sign up on the form. And each person who is on the list has a limit of 3 minutes to present your information. We will have a timer going up here so you can watch and see how much the 3 minutes is. All personnel comments are prohibited, and we just ask that everyone be respectful. And as I mentioned before, this is being recorded, so if you have your name on the list and you have a question or concern, we will have someone get back with you about that question or concern. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Okay, thank you. All right, so we will go ahead and begin with Joshua Rowe.
Thank you, school board, for your time, for your dedication to what it is that goes on in the district. I know I got 3 minutes, so I'll talk fast. We just moved here from the state of Illinois. I have one son in Green Canyon, one in middle school, and one in the elementary school at Spring Creek and Greenville. And as my son started out, wanting to know people, make friends, joined the cross-country team, went to the cross-country team, everything went well. Started going for the swimming team, found out in order to participate in the swimming team, he had to take a swimming class, which I was a little bit, okay, this is kind of interesting. So I went in and talked to Mr. Swenson, the principal. Come to find out that in order for a student to participate in a sports extracurricular activity, he's forced to take a class, which means that he has to take time away from for an academic pursuit to take a class for an extracurricular activity, which in attending high school in the state of Oregon, then moving to Virginia and having my kids in the Virginia school districts, and then being in the Illinois school districts, when a student participates in sports, it is an extracurricular activity, and they're not forced to remove a class from their academic pursuits to pursue a sport. At Green Canyon High School, if you're on the cross-country team, you don't have to take a class because it doesn't fit in the cross-country teacher's schedule, and if you're on the men's tennis team, I think it was, you don't have to take a class. And then if you're on the track, because there's 2 track coaches, one you do, one you don't. But for all the other sports, you have to take a class, which is taking time away from the student's academic pursuit in order to participate in the sport. Which, as a school board, as a district, as parents, as educators, I'm struggling with the concept of my child has to choose between taking a health class or a Chinese class or woodworking or something that he might be able to actually use one day later on, in order to participate in a sports, which is extracurricular, which is getting to know people. And Mr. Swenson, I went and talked to Mr. Swenson, had a good hour-and-a-half conversation with him. He said, well, that's the case because it's been that way, because it makes it easier for the coaches to get their things done. And I went and talked to the guidance counselor, and she said, well, they do it in Logan High School too, and they did it that way so that so that this happens and that happens, and lots of explanations. I went and talked to Mr. Leichte, and he was really good, and said, well, don't have your son sign up for the swimming class yet. We'll see what we can do. I went back and talked to Mr. Swenson, and he said he can't change it. That won't get changed. We've been doing this for 20 years. Mr. Leichte knows what's going on. In order to participate in sports, they have to take the class. The school guidance counselor said, oh, but it's a good class. It's an educational class. They're not allowed to practice during this hour. But that's not what's going on, because my son, who's taking the swimming class, they swim during the swimming hour. So here is almost an automatic A if you show up and do the sport, which is, in academics, there's always, at least at the collegiate level, oh, well, the athletes get it easier, they take it easy on the grades, they work around their schedules. That's what we're doing at Green Canyon, at least in this school district, because we're giving the students who participate in a class pretty much an automatic A, and then we're allowing them to take time away from the school day to participate in a sport. Because I drove by the high school on many of occasions to see, before the closing bell rang, the football team's out on the field. So they're getting a free class to participate in a sport when they could be in an academic pursuit, which, having been in Oregon and Illinois and Virginia, I was told by Mr. Swenson, that's the way all of Utah does it, don't worry about it, which I'm really struggling. On one side of me, I'm okay with my kid having it a little bit easier, but at the same time, I don't really want my kids to have it easier. I got 5 kids that are going to come to this school district, and we moved here because my son's a freshman, and I wanted a better place to raise him, and we're super excited about being here. I'm like, the friends, the academics, the teachers, the programs that my kids are involved in have all been wonderful. But I'm struggling with this. We're making it easier on athletes. I don't know where the time clock is. Sorry, I don't see it anywhere. I don't want to go over.
Oh,
yeah, I don't want to go too far, so I apologize. But I would like a further conversation and we can meet after hours or whatever, a different time. But why is it that we are allowing students to participate in extracurricular activity instead of a curricular one, an academic one? They're in school to learn and understand it's well-rounded, it's this, it's that, and the other, but at the same time to force a student to choose between woodworking or metal shop or auto shop or one of these other things over a sports class, which should be after hours.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, are we going to be able to get a box up? Or?
Yeah. 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Yep. You ready to go? Okay. Sorry about that, Josh. Thanks. All right, we'll go ahead and have Stephen Hansen.
Good evening. I'm Stephen Hansen. I'm the head baseball coach at Mountain Crest High School. I've been an educator for 30 years. I've been in this district for 23 years. Head baseball coach for 25 years and 19th year at Mountain Crest as the head baseball coach. Earlier in the year, in the end of August, we put in a proposal to go out of state to a Bishop Gorman tournament that we was invited to and accepted, and they invited us to that. Bishop Gorman is a very fine high school. They run one of the top tournaments in the country, and to get accepted to this was a great achievement for us. We turned in our proposal. We followed the policy to the T. We did everything right with the proposal, and we got turned down. The way we got turned down was an email, a scanned email to this just a scanner copy machine that the counselor secretary got. That's how we found out. No explanation, nothing like that. Then about 2 or 3 weeks later, our wrestling team got approved for the second year in a row to go out of state. And so we just feel a little bit picked on that way for that. And we have not had any explanation why. And they always say policy, but this is the policy. It doesn't say you cannot go out of state. The policy does not state that. And cross-country teams go out of state every year. They have been for years. And this is the first time I've asked for 19 years. And I just feel like, we deserve that. And why do we deserve that? There was a comment last board meeting like, well, you didn't take state last year or something like that. No, we didn't. But as you guys know, the transition splitting up Ridgeline and Mountain Crest was not great in all aspects. And we basically got, beat up pretty good. We went from 5 wins 3 years ago to making the state tournament the second year to winning the region championship last year with 1 senior. I've coached nationally ranked teams before, and I've never asked for this before. But I feel strongly about this team deserves that. Do they deserve it more than another team? I'm not saying that, but they do deserve it just as much as their best friend that just went to Reno last weekend and to show their skills and so on. And I'm just asking for the board to ask the superintendent to reconsider his decision. And we just want fairness. We want fairness with all that. And we got some parents here that's going to talk. There's no tighter group than the MC baseball family. We all love each other, and we'll all support each other, and there's not a group in this district that's tighter than that. And we just feel that way. We want fairness. And whatever decision's made, I know we have to accept it, but I want a reasoning why, other than the policy says, because the policy does not say that. And we're not here to change the policy. We're here to do that. And it's been said, well, this will open up a can of worms. Well, the can of worms was opened up a long time ago. We just want to be part of those worms.
Okay, thank you.
That's just
Have we done 3 minutes yet? I don't know where to look for this.
Anyway.
Okay.
So if you need anything else from me, any questions, anything like that, I'd love to hear. I've been knocked off the agenda twice, so thank you.
Thank you. So where is the timer? It was up? Okay. Okay, I just need to know where it is so I can see it. All right. Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead and move to Jed Hancock.
Thank you for the opportunity to share a few thoughts tonight. I'm here as a father of one of the sons on the Mountain Crest baseball team, and as Coach Hansen just described, I just wanted to express my love for our area, our county, our district, Mountain Crest, especially our baseball team. I'm so proud of these young men, the way they represent themselves, not only on the field, but in their lives, the things they're doing in the classroom. with baseball, we do have seasonal constraints in the location that we live. This tournament is a marvelous opportunity to showcase a team, the members on the team, for them to be able to show what Mountain Crest is, what Cache County is, what our school district is. They represent us so well, and I just have all the confidence in the world in them. I hope that we can support them in every opportunity that they deserve to be recognized based on their achievement. And this tournament, one that is invitational to those teams that can go and compete in a setting of baseball in this part of our beautiful nation, which is really in proximity to our state of Utah, would be a marvelous opportunity for these young men, for their futures, for their opportunities to build on the talent that they've been working so hard with. And I just express my support, my appreciation for you, for all you do, and we love Mountain Crest, and we especially love these young men. It's their interest that we have in our hearts. So thank you.
Thank you. Christy Burbank.
Hi, I have 2 seniors on the team this year and a freshman, and I just think that they worked hard with the school split. A lot of their friends went different. The 2 younger boys that are seniors this year started off as freshmen at Mountain Crest when the school split. My older boy Steve just came back, Coach Hansen, and he was a junior when Coach Hansen came back to coach, and they did take a beating. It was a rough 2 years watching them and the way that they grew as a team, and us as a family, Mountain Crest as a family. And then to have these boys have this opportunity. Bishop Gorman is nationally renowned school. This baseball program, my younger boys talk about it. Still, I have 3 actually coming back up that will go to Mountain Crest. These 2 seniors and their friends, one of them they talked about that got to go to Reno with the wrestling team, is one of my older boys' best friends. And his mom and I talked about it, and what an amazing opportunity it was for him to get in front of coaches to play at the next level. A lot of people don't have the opportunity to pay for their kids' schooling at the next level, college, and so you kind of rely on maybe a scholarship, and this opportunity would give our boys a chance to get out there, have colleges look at them, and perhaps that would be a route that they would be able to pursue to have their college paid for. And I just want the opportunity to go and let them see what they're not holding back, just see what they have, and see if they're able to go play at the next level. So, thank you.
Thank you. Zachary Brinkenhoff, I hope I said that right.
Thanks for hearing all of us. I'm one of Steve's assistant coaches. I've been with him. This is my 4th year, so this group of seniors is my first group. I grew up in Cedar City, played baseball at Canyon View. I played collegiately at BYU. The first conversation I had with a college baseball recruiter was at this tournament in Las Vegas at Bishop Gorman High School. I understand we're not the biggest fish in the frying pan, right? But there's 2 things that kind of jump out to me. One is that the players over the last 4 years have earned a reputation that they deserve this. Bishop Gorman's not going to let teams in that have a reputation of getting in trouble. If schools have problems, they're going to check that. Our players are good in the classroom. They're good outside of the classroom. We take pride in that. They've earned the opportunity. Other schools earn the opportunity as well, and other teams in our school has. They've been given the chance. The other thing is that when I was in high school, we got the chance to play Mountain Crest twice in the preseason. And before we put our cleats on, before each game, we understood that they were going to be as well coached as anybody we would ever play, and as well disciplined as anybody we would ever play. That speaks more about Coach Hansen than anything. But in 19 years in this school district, 23 years in the state, and 27 or 29 years teaching, I'd like to think that he's earned that respect. Okay? at least for a justification of a denial. If the board's already made up their minds, that we can't change that. But he has earned the respect to be given a legitimate reason for denying our request. And that's all we're asking for. If you guys can't approve it, okay, but please give us a justification of why, because as players and a coaching staff, we feel like it's pretty well deserved. Thank you.
Thank you. Sandra Sorhees? Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. You better tell me how to pronounce your name. Sander?
That would be Sandor.
Sandor?
Schiss. Yes.
Okay, sorry.
First, I'd like to recognize the board. Thanks for the opportunity.
I hope I'm not the first one to mess up your name.
Absolutely are, so I'm sorry. With all due respect, it's not uncommon, I promise. I'd take a moment to talk to the board. I appreciate you taking the time and hearing us out. Appreciate the fellowship we have of our other parents, our coach, and the Mountain Crest support. I too have a young gentleman that's on the team. It's easy to misconstrue this as an athletic opportunity to go to Bishop Gorman. Face value, that's exactly what it is. It's a fantastic opportunity for kids that have a skill set, potentially take them to the next level, put them in front of coaches that are out there recruiting for the opportunity to enlighten a kid's scholastic career. I have a kid come home the other day. Keep in mind, I heard reference a few times of the whole Ridgeline Mountain Crest split. I thought it was kind of odd that my boy, who lives in the heart of the Ridgeline territory, had made the decision upon hearing that Coach Steve Hansen was coming to Mountain Crest to go and transfer and be a Mountain Crest student. He liked the fairness. He liked the scholastic opportunity. He liked a new group of friends. Make no mistake, at that point, he didn't know a lot of these boys, but he became great friends with them. Scholastically intertwined, athletically intertwined, took full advantage of that opportunity. I've traveled the country with this kid and many of the others on this team. I assure you there's no better group of kids. These kids have dedicated themselves scholastically as well as athletically. It shows to the point, you know what, 3 years ago they were taking a whooping. Last year we were given the whooping. And I'd like to see these boys presented the opportunity to make the trip. I mean, we're talking 107 miles across the Utah border down into Las Vegas to go play some of the toughest competition these guys will ever see. I think they've earned that. I think the coaching staff's earned that. I think the parents have earned that. Quite frankly, I think Mountain Crest as a whole has earned that. And given the opportunity, I think any other school here, I think it'd be silly to not take advantage of that same opportunity. Got a kid, he come home the other day and he was really frustrated. He says, Daddy, my GPA is a 3.7. This is what the advanced placement class is. This is a kid that dedicates every walking moment he's got to eat, sleep, and drink baseball. But somehow, scholastics have managed to keep him with a GPA of that. He's got friends that keep him on the straight and narrow. He's got kids that they talk school as much as they talk baseball. So given this opportunity, I'd like to see these young gentlemen be able to board the bus, charter or what, make the trip down south, go represent. With any kind of luck, some of these kids have their tuition for their scholastic achievement and they're furthering their secondary education subsidized with something they love to do. Throw a silly ball around and run around the bases, because they happen to do it pretty good, and I think they've earned that opportunity. Thanks again for your time.
Thank you, Sander. Thank you, Sander. All right, and then our last one tonight is Kevin Welch.
Thanks to the board for allowing us to come and present our case to have a reconsideration of allowing us to go to the Bishop Gorman tournament. Coach Hansen asked me if I'd come speak, and I told my wife, I said, he's the only coach that I would do this for. It's not my favorite thing to get up and speak in front of public, and I think that's a testament of how many parents and coaches were willing to come support him. My son Lance is on the baseball team, and he is my fourth child to go through Mountain Crest Athletics. Every one of my older kids were allowed to go to an out-of-state tournament and participate. And this was a wonderful opportunity for them. Every one of them appreciated and enjoyed and had a great opportunity and a great time at these out-of-state tournaments. So that begs the question, why does the baseball team get turned down at such a prestigious tournament as this Bishop Gorman? So I just come to the board to ask for fairness and consistency in whatever the policy is going to be. The second thing, I come as a parent, as a former collegiate athlete, that I feel very strongly that we allow our kids to follow their dreams, allow them to have these dreams, allow them to, and facilitate them to follow those dreams. My son had the opportunity to get invited to a BYU baseball camp, and at that camp, he came home from that camp and he said, our catcher, who's sitting back here, was better than any catcher at that BYU baseball camp, which is a testament of the quality of the players on this team and the opportunity that this tournament will provide for them to be seen by collegiate coaches. So, again, I just ask for consistency and fairness, and also allow these kids to follow their dreams, facilitate the opportunity for them to follow their dreams. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming. We appreciate your input, and the district will take all of this into consideration and get back with you, and the board will also take into consideration the things that you've said. You, as the other group, are welcome to stay. We are going to move on with the agenda, so if you don't want to stay for the rest of the agenda, this is a good time to go ahead and go. Okay, we will move on then to our reports agenda. And our first reports agenda will be the adjustment of Providence Elementary TSSA plan.
And I need to apologize. Principal Jeff Keck had a brother-in-law who passed away a couple days ago unexpectedly, and the funeral is tomorrow, so he had to leave town. So if you want to just bump this to our next meeting, then he could have an opportunity to speak in a little more detail.
So
on what
our
he
next
wants to do.
meeting won't be until January, either the 16th or the 19th. I can't remember which day it is. Or
Well,
it's gonna be okay.
if you'd like, you have the proposal in front of you. Basically, what it amounts to is he was going to, initially, the previous principal told him an after-school club was kind of needed or wanted at the school, but as he got a little further down into the faculty, no one really wants to do that or is not willing to step forward. So he would like to maybe take some of that money that was set aside to do that, and rather than have an after-school club, hire some paraprofessionals, some aides to go in and help with some of his large classes. So that's the gist of his proposal there. And where it was $17,000 and where it was taking from an after-school club to, during the day, I just thought it was appropriate that he present it to you to see if you would approve something like that.
Okay. His proposal is actually really short. Has everybody had a chance to look at it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
There
so.
just wasn't any dollar values or anything, as far as how it would transfer.
As I looked at his plan, it was about $17,000, I believe, that had been set aside for that after-school club.
So how about if he includes that for the next meeting, and we'll just put it on the action agenda?
Okay, perfect. I will let him know. Thank you.
Then they can go ahead and use the money.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Okay, the adult education policy.
Merry Christmas, everyone. I'm glad to see everyone who came out to support me presenting this to the board. So
We support you, Kurt.
Thanks. Thanks, John.
Try and keep them under control.
Yeah. So we have been tasked with updating our board policies. So I'm bringing to you an update on our adult education policy. So the policy that's here would be combined. We had two previous ones. We're combining both and updating that policy. In a nutshell.
Okay, my only suggestion to you is make sure you have somebody edit before you submit the new one, because there's some things on it that need to be fixed. So.
What?
But everything else is great.
Has Cherie had any input on this?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yep.
Since she's the one with boots on the ground in
Right.
this program.
She's actually the one who, I added a
wrote
few
it?
things, and yes.
Okay.
It was a joint effort.
Awesome.
Hey, you might be in the clear here. I mean, that might have been another one I was looking at. No, you got to.
No, I wasn't in the clear.
There's a lot of scrutiny, Kurt.
Then it was Cherie who did that. My part was okay.
Yeah, I've written them down and they're just minor, but
Okay.
you know me. Any-
I just did it on purpose. I was
Thank
just
you.
seeing if you'd read it.
If I could still edit. Does anyone have any questions on it?
All right, no.
Okay, thanks.
So just so the board knows, this, the board policy committee that is reviewing policies systematically that you've asked to review, this is the first director to come and suggest a couple of our policies be combined into one.
Okay.
And you'll get those on the next, there's, I don't know, 10 or 11 policies that are out for review right now.
So why don't I just make a blanket statement? Everybody get it edited before the final draft, because there's just little mistakes made on it. If we're gonna change the content to make it more meaningful, let's have it be correct. Are you okay with that? No, I won't say anything more. I hope.
Until the next time.
Okay, the monthly financial report, Dale.
Well, I apologize, I wasn't here last month to give you a report for October, so I have both October and November's reports on the agenda tonight, but we'll kind of gloss over October's and go to November's, because that's more current. And so the report, again, this one shows, I think, some of the effects in the budget by having a larger enrollment than we had budgeted. So, if you look on the first page of the detailed report, so it's really the third page of the handout there, but if you look under the expenditures section there, the very top section of instruction, you can see that this year's budget for teacher salaries, as of the end of November, we had spent 28.1% of the budget. And last year, at the same point in time, we had only incurred 27.5% of the amount that we ended up spending for the entire year. So it shows you that the budget is actually low in comparison to the timeline with the expenditures that were made last year. So we have gone through, in fact, it was yesterday I finally got this done, to go through and on the working budget, adjust the salaries and benefits across all of the sections here to reflect what we currently have on staff and hired for this year. And also included the budget that we used to cover the one-time salary augmentation to employees in November. And so the adjustment was about $1.8 million in total. Majority of that was for the one-time bonus or salary augmentation. But and so if you look on the second page of that report, under the second group called operations and maintenance, there's a line item there called building maintenance repairs. That actually is the line item that holds the unappropriated funds that we have in our budget at this point. And so it was showing then that we had almost $3.8 million of unappropriated funds sitting in the district budget. With this change, it brought it down to about 1.9 million is where we are. But that still doesn't have any of the increased revenues that we'll receive from the state due to the higher enrollment than what we had built the budget on. That typically comes the end of December, and so maybe I'll receive it here this next week, but I haven't received it as of yet. So I hope that we'll be able to build that into December's financial report when I pull that, or it may end up not being until January when we get those numbers included in the budget itself. But one thing I thought was really exciting, I guess, was on that second page under operations and maintenance, there's the utilities budget. With the changes that we have recently made and are currently making in our schools for energy retrofits of lighting, that'd be the main thing that we're experiencing right now. But if you look at it, we've actually spent this year only $874,000 in utilities as of the end of November, where last year we had actually spent $100,000 more than that, $974,000.
Wow, that's good.
So there are some savings. I can't say that all of it is due to the lighting change. It could be weather patterns, may have some effect in that, good or bad, I don't know which.
Could be somebody might be switching off a light.
And that would be
Don't
amazing.
count
That would be
on it, though,
wonderful.
but, yeah, that could be.
Yes, I love that idea.
It could be that the lights just don't turn on when we walk in the rooms.
Okay. All right.
Which happens.
It does.
A lot.
They don't turn on or do turn on?
Don't turn on.
Don't turn on. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, there's the delay, like
Yeah.
especially in the women's bathroom here.
Well,
we will put some
Yeah, I tried that.
You'll
And
put
then
some
I
candles.
contemplate just going in the dark.
One of my little fetishes is people that have switches in rooms or wherever they're used to, that they know that it will turn itself off eventually. It's like the one in the hall up at the district office. I swear it takes a half hour for that thing to shut off if there's no movement in there. So you could just easily touch that button as you go out the door and save a half hour of burning
I can guarantee you that
energy.
is nothing compared to the burning lights in our gymnasium.
Exactly.
Which we have got to get a control of.
Yeah.
Because I've been in all the schools lately, all the high schools, and I've never walked by the gym when it's stone quiet in there that the lights haven't been burning. I know. And that's one of the things I would have loved to have done before I end my career, so maybe we'll go down that road.
Are they not automatic on and off like the classrooms are?
They are.
Would we do that? Would we consider doing that? Oh.
The gymnasiums will?
That'll help.
Awesome.
Yeah. You know, that's the one thing with LED lighting is a lot of people used to think with fluorescent lamps that it costs a lot of energy to start up a fluorescent lamp. And so people would say if you're going to be gone for 5-10 minutes,
Leave
it's
it
cheaper
on.
to let it run than to turn it off and turn it back on when you return. But with LED lighting, it doesn't take anything to turn it on or off or on. I mean, so there's no reason to leave them on thinking that, well, I'm going to save some money because.
Yeah, we need, as we go through this energy retrofit, we need to reactivate our energy conservation program, and together we can get some substantial savings.
Right.
Do you get this information out to the staff and teachers about how that would help if they turned off lights and?
Yeah, and I'm sure that'll be part of the education process.
But
Because I think just
Bruce
people might
James
not
is
know.
responsible for that, so we just need to activate it again, and he needs to make the rounds and talk to faculties, and, yeah, we'll fire that back up.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that wasn't what I intended to give a report on tonight, but
Well, it was
I'm a little
good.
diverted.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
Anyway, as far as our revenue collections, property taxes are equal with where they were last year. It's only at 3%. But I will admit that I did cash checks yesterday totaling just right under $28 million. So that's the large property tax collection that we'll receive for November collections. And generally next month we'll receive maybe another 15 million that's about 95% of the property taxes we received during the year, so that'll help.
So yesterday you got 28 million and our budget is only 26?
Well, you've got property taxes in the general fund, you have it in debt service, you have it in the capital
Okay.
outlay fund.
So these are split apart?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they are. So, and really, I think the budget itself is still in good, solid position. It'll be more relevant when we get those updated revenue figures in there, and you can also see the adjustments we've made on the expenditure budgets. So we'll have that for next month. provide that report.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you. All right. For our board committee report, Larry's just going to give us a little update on the student meeting at, was it at Mountain Crest? Where was that?
Roger and Mike were with me. I was not at the first meeting at Spring Creek. The first comment Roger made at the end was the group we had 2 freshmen, 2 sophomores, 2 juniors, and 2 seniors. And the first comment was that the group we had at Mountain Crest was much more open and talked freely and seemed pretty relaxed with us. And there were 2 main themes. One of the questions was, what would you know, they all talked about how hard freshman year was and working their way through, and the question was asked, what would you tell incoming freshmen? And every one of them said, get involved in other things, don't just go to school. That's the key to enjoying your high school experience. And that was good. I asked the question, what's your favorite thing about Mountain Crest? And again, the overall reaction was pretty united that the way they were treated, the atmosphere of the school, feeling safe and feeling loved was a very strong theme. When we brought up the safety ideas and concerns, and they were very strong. You know, we are not threatened here. We're in a good atmosphere. We're not afraid of things. So I thought it was a very positive meeting.
How do they select the students who are going to be there?
I honestly don't know how Terry did that.
Yeah, we
Just
left it
chooses
up
them?
to the principals to determine that.
Okay. Sounds like good feedback. Really? Okay. Any questions about anything? Okay.
I have, if Larry's finished, I should probably give a report that I, on behalf of our board, was required to send a bunch of reports about our internal auditing to the state board auditor that were due, and it was all due yesterday. So I've been working with Alan. We had to send reports and the email came to me as the LEA Audit Committee Chair. So anyway, we had to send reports of his official reports from our internal auditing for 2017, 18, and 19 school years. And plus, I had to fill out a questionnaire about how our audit committee works, and
Really?
it was about 3 pages, and then what our plan is for the 19-20 school year. So I sent all that in yesterday, and it was accepted, and they say they're using that to develop training materials for the future.
Committees in the future.
So do they do that to every school district or just pick a few?
I assumed that they did to, I'm just reading the email again here. I think that they said it to all LEAs, so that means all charter schools and school districts that they send it to in
Okay.
the state.
Thank you for doing that. That's a big project.
Oh, not for me.
Oh, for
I
Alan?
just passed it on to Alan.
Okay. All right.
I just had to do answer all the questions on the questionnaire thing. So if anybody is concerned or has concerns about that, I could forward it all on to you so you could read it too.
You don't need to forward it to me.
But I thought
You
I
didn't
better
want
let
it?
you know that I represented y'all.
Thank you.
I smiled because I sent in the same report yesterday.
Oh,
too.
you did?
And I think yours would have been better than mine, so hopefully they'll throw mine away.
Yeah, and they sent it
look
to
at
me
yours.
too, and then I turned it over to Dale. So that's okay.
Yeah, that's good.
But, because we've never had, I don't think ever, a request of an individual board member. That's
Well,
just-
they sent one to me, but it was addressed to you, so I figured, oh, I'm off the hook on
Yeah.
that, so I didn't.
But I mean, that's not normally how they do it.
Oh, really?
So, neither one of us were aware that you had got that personally as the chair of that committee, so that's
So we
okay.
probably should let you know on something like that.
Well, I'll just tell the state soup that she needs to let us know if that's how they're gonna handle it,
Okay,
because usually they don't.
okay. Does anyone else have a committee report that I didn't get on the agenda? I did go to, excuse me, another meeting for ACES, and last time it was on trafficking. And it was actually kind of interesting. The fellow who is over that works with the Attorney General's office, and there is a problem in Utah with trafficking, and trafficking involves anything that requires someone to perform labor without kind of in kind of a slavery situation, or the sexual trafficking. And Esther Lee Molyneux did say that she had an incident of it happen through the family place. And it was a girl whose older sister was trafficking her so she could have gas money for her car to drive this younger girl to the places she wanted to go. So, I mean, it just sounds so bizarre and weird to us, but I just think it's probably going to come here just like it has everybody else. And it's started out with family involvement, which you do hear some of that on the news, but just be prepared for what's up and coming, because it's here in different forms in Cache Valley than other places. Okay, anybody else have any comments? Okay, on the report, I gave everybody a copy of the assignments for last year. Will you just look over them and just email me if you have any concerns. If you're willing to just stay on those committees, let me know. And I'm sad that Chris left, because he's probably the one we need to put into the places where Alan is. So I'll just email him about that, if that's okay. And then I had something else. What's it called on the Hill? Day on the Hill is February 20th, which is the same day as we have one of our board meetings. So the superintendent is fine with just leaving our board meeting on the 20th, and we'll just leave early for those of us who go down. Does anybody have a problem with February 20th staying as the board meeting, even though Day on the Hill is that same day? Okay, not everybody goes.
Usually
but-
you can be out of there and then back here for a 5:30 board meeting,
Yeah.
so I don't think it's.
Okay. And then the last thing for the conference down in Salt Lake, the USBA conference, Design West has invited us to go to dinner Thursday night. And then, Dale, do you want to tell us who else?
Johnson Controls has invited us for breakfast on Friday morning. And then Steve Holt, George K. Baum, will have their luncheon banquet over at Grand America on Friday. Yeah.
So would that include spouses who are there too, do you think, for all of those? Okay, so just plan on that. Just plan on that. Okay. Did you not have a report or anything tonight? Okay.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, thanks. Anybody have anything else? Okay. Thank you, everyone, district people, board, and have a Merry Christmas, and we are adjourned.